You're listening to the AZREIA Show. If you're looking for quality real estate investing information that you can trust, you've found it. Stay tuned and join the tens of thousands of members that have already benefited from AZREIA, your home for education, market information, support, and networking opportunities that will advance your real estate investing career.
Welcome to the AZREIA Show. I'm Mike Del Prete, Executive Director of the Arizona Real Estate Investors Association. I am flying solo today. My good friend Marcus Maloney is out in Chicago handling some real estate business. So yeah, if you're ever interested in investing out of state, you should talk to him. Besides that, today, what are you going to learn? What are we going to talk about today in this episode? I'll jump right in. In the past, we've done a few episodes in the past about the path of progress. Right now, we have access to information. We always do, whether it's media, public records, planning and zoning, ADOT, wherever the freeways are going. So we have all this information. My mentor always said, Mike, follow the sewer lines, right? That doesn't always mean it's all going to happen and come through. However, we do have access to this information. As if we were in the stock world, right? If we had insider information, that would be illegal. So let's take use of this information. So always look back to some of the old AZREIA shows about Path of Progress. Good information, but I'm going to kind of give you a brief update about some emerging markets. So we're going to talk about some hot areas around Arizona and Phoenix, data centers, senior housing, and some new legislation that's being proposed here in the legislation season. Okay, so let's jump right in. So the path of progress, right? Another thing before I dive into that is think about the tools that you need to obtain some of this property, right? So cash always works, hard money, right? But I also want you to think about creative strategies like options, seller carrybacks, sub-twos, wraps. Keep all that in mind, especially when you're going out to buy land over time, because like if you're thinking about path of progress, the seller might not be ready to sell today or want to sell at a lower price, but you got to be able to have different tools in your toolbox to do that. So in March 14th and 15th, we do have our Creative Finance Academy. So check out the calendar. So the path of progress, how massive drivers are reshaping the valley and beyond in 2026. So the markets right now is balanced. Inventory is climbing. Buyer leverage is on our side. So I do feel this is a time to go look for deals. It's always a time to go look for deals, but more than it's been in the last 4 or 5 years. Modest appreciation, 1 to 4%. Rates are around 6%. But today, like I said, we're going to go into emerging corridors, data centers, senior housing, and some legislation that we're dealing with. So let's talk about progress. Phoenix Metro is rewiring around key corridors. So let's start with the North Phoenix Loop 303, right? I remember when I first moved to Phoenix, the 51 freeway stopped at Shea Boulevard. So that goes back a while. So since then, obviously, we got the 101 and 202s and all this great stuff. So now we have the 303 that opened up a few years ago. But we all know the TSMC $165 billion semiconductor expansion is a key anchor out there. So with recent land deals adding thousands of homes, shops, industrial areas, high-wage jobs means strong rental demand and appreciation. So, there's going to be entertainment districts. So if you have rental property over there, definitely keep it, right? If you can get your hands on some property in those areas, highly recommend it. I personally like New River, right? It's a smaller town. I think that little town has so much potential. So think about those areas, right? How can you acquire property over in North Phoenix? Let's shoot over West Valley, Buckeye, Goodyear, I-10, master plan communities, logistic hubs, I-10 upgrades. It's affordable now. So I think it's a great time to get in these areas where they're starting to build more and these plants are starting to come in. One thing I heard was in LA, at the ports in LA, they're actually bringing their containers to West Phoenix storing them for X amount of time, then coming and picking them back up and bringing them back to the port because it's cheaper to do that, right? So there's all these different cool things happening in the West Valley. Buckeye, I know Bill Gates, his town is coming together. I don't recall the name off the top of my head, but they're saying it's going to be the size of Pittsburgh, right? I know there's some new development around the Buckeye Airport. So this is this exciting information where you can go buy these build a home, capture land, or get these new builds that are out there that are just sitting on the market, right? Let's go to the Southeast Valley, Gilbert, Santan Valley. Santan Valley just became its own city, right? So it was all under Maricopa County between Queen Creek and Santan. So they are officially their own city, the city of Santan. I know Apache Junction's growing. So there's a lot of biotech, logistics, obviously family growth. I know Queen Creek has hit a lot of different statistics and charts of being a fast-growing, desirable town. So also there's some build-to-rents going out that way as well. So want to give also a little perspective outside of Phoenix for our Tucson members. I love you guys, so I've got to put a little Tucson update. So Tucson's emerging spots are Vail, fastest growing suburb, great schools right next to the Air Force Base. Marana, it's Northwest Logistics Data Center potential. Oro Valley, definitely hit the radar for medical and tech, multifamily. So Tucson's path is steadier, lower priced, but strong rentals, okay? So that's a little bit on kind of the areas that are here in the West Valley, Northwest, West Valley, Southeast Valley. So an investor tip that we kind of put out there is to position yourself early. So whether if you're a wholesaler, right? There's people that are paying attention to this that are already ahead of us, making these moves and buying these land or the properties. So great for a wholesaler, flipper, right? As we migrate over there and those cities grow, you can lock in a good flip. And most importantly, wealth is a long-term game. So why not grab some rental properties, right? Especially these new builds. If you could pick up a new build, 2025 build, low maintenance in the first 5 years, the amenities and the discounts and the rates that these builders can provide in a slower market, I definitely think it's worth looking into. There are, a lot of obviously talks about water, but I feel that we are solid in the water area, right? Especially with all these companies and all this growth, I doubt it would be happening if we didn't have water. Let's kind of segue into the data centers. It's big, right? I think, Phoenix is one of the top U.S. hubs for AI and cloud. So projects ramping up are Nova's $3 billion Mesa campus, NTT expansions, proposals near Luke Air Force Base. We have Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon, all coming to Arizona. And, when I hear that, I also think about, even like when it comes to stock investing, everyone says, just bet on the big companies. What do you use? Your cell phone, your Google, whatever. What are the products that you use that everyone uses all the time? So those are always safe stock bets. I'm not giving out stock advice. But what I'm saying is it's interesting that they're all here in Arizona. So it's like they're in our town. So it's like buying property and owning property around these companies is huge. It brings in huge tax revenue, construction jobs, but there is some strain on zoning and some pushback, especially in the Mesa area. So I actually was invited to the city of Mesa's redevelopment meeting. So I'm excited to share that information. I'll let you know what I learned there. But I feel like Mesa is always on the up and up. So I'm excited for what Mesa has coming up as well. So for investors, let's think direct plays are specialized. So let's say industrial warehouse demand near all these campuses, some good rental properties in these areas, long-term rentals. And once again, like all these companies, all these tech companies are just going to continue growing. They're continuing to bring in jobs, high wages, which means good rents. So I think there's a lot to look out for in 2026 and paying attention to the news and what we have going on here in Arizona. So another quick topic I did want to touch on was residential assisted living. The reason I want to do that, one, you guys know that we always have Isabel from Residential Assisted Living. They're the best residential assisted living trainers in the country. We have a partnership with them. They're good friends of ours. They've been with us for over a decade. And they do a 3-day intense boot camp every 7 weeks here in the Phoenix area. So I think we have an advantage here living here. So if you go to azreia.org/calendar, you'll be able to see the upcoming events, and they're kind enough to give better pricing to AZREIA members. So you actually get a discount cheaper than their website. So if you're interested in the silver tsunami that's coming, obviously the seniors are retiring. So some information I pulled up on that is occupancy for these senior housings hit 89.1% by the end of 2025, up 2.2% for the year, with 18 straight quarters of gains. It's big. I think it was 10,000 boomers are retiring a day. This is a big field. And as there's actually a need for this nationwide, there's actually not enough homes to supply the demand. So our climate is warm, it's affordable, strong health care, no estate tax. This all draws retirees. The 65 plus population heads up to 2 million by 2030, with 85-year-olds plus exploding. Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tucson lead the areas for residential assisted living. Secondary spots like Prescott, Buckeye are growing fast. So this is all stuff I definitely want you to pay attention to as we grow here in Arizona. It's recession-resistant cash flow. Unfortunately, we all get old, right? We're all going to need some support at one time. So one reason, yes, you want to get into real estate. You want to have rentals for you personally when retirement comes and we're up in old age and we might need some help. It'll be nice to tap into some equity of some properties that you've owned for 20, 30 years, 15 years, whatever it may be. So that's definitely huge to get property now to help the situation. Certain properties that you might already have could maybe be converted to a residential assisted living, so that might be worth looking into. Also, if you don't want to be in the business, because it is real estate and an assisted living business, so two separate plays there, maybe you have a property that you could rent out to a residential assisted living company where they'll pay top dollar for, right? So these are all just kind of things to think about. I just wanted to mention the residential assisted living. So I'm going to segue into regulatory updates, and there's two that we're talking about here. I'll cover is FINCEN and HB 2486. So what's going on? Those are the two big ones for 2026 so far here in Arizona. So first, we'll start with FINCEN, Residential Real Estate Rule, effective March 1st, 2026. This federal anti-money laundering push requires reporting non-financed, all-cash or private residential transfers to entities and trusts such as LLCs, corporations, etc. Title companies, their agents are primary reporting persons. So they're no longer going to starting to become that they're not just third-party facilitators, they're becoming a gatekeeper at some level. They file real estate reports with FINCEN, including beneficial owners. They have 25% plus control of the entity. Let's see. Yep. So they'll have to report property details, price, within 30 days of the closing. So now, basically, the government's looking for, money laundering, just fraud, and all those types of things. So now it's an extra layer that pops into the title and escrow's job, right? So it might take them some more time to close that file now. And some title companies might want to add more fees, right? So this is very important. So you want to get ahead of the game. AZREIA, actually today, day of this recording, Great American Title, thank you Janet and Maria, invited me to a private training so we can be updated here at AZREIA and share the information with our members. So I will have more information on that here soon. Or maybe we'll just bring Great American Title and kind of let you guys know. So keep in mind, talk to your local, wherever you're at, talk to your title company, ask them what they need from you, because I know they're going to need all your LLC information, who's on the LLC, names, all that. I'm assuming social. There's still a lot of unknown information. But with that being said, and it's going to be on every transaction, I was told it's not like you could just give your title company your information and they just store it, because they have to upload it to the FINCEN portal every transaction. So I'll be curious to see how that happens. So let's see. Now that's FINCEN, and now I'm going to jump into the one everybody's talking about, Arizona HB 2486. So what is HB 246? Right, this was introduced this year. It's still early. It's still in the committee. It aims to protect foreclosure distressed homeowners by redefining equity purchasers. So they're creating a category for investors that buy, cash distressed properties. So they want to get rid of, the bad actors. Totally agree. We got to protect consumers. We want the bad actors out, and it's very important. More important than ever here in the real estate investing community here in Arizona, to be educated, to create awareness, to report bad actors. I was actually told that was one of the biggest problems. No one wants to report the bad actors. Blows my mind. Well, when we don't educate each other on how to operate correctly and do business with ethics and integrity, or call out the bad actors, it comes into regulation, right? So this is the byproduct. So what's going on here? So equity purchasers, prohibiting misleading people, deed possession, pre-escrow, banning sales. Check this out. Below 82% of as-is fair market value in some cases. Title escrow could become watchdogs, once again, refusing to do closings under these thresholds. So think about a property. You can't buy it less than 82%. Here in our world, we buy ugly houses, vacant, holes in the roof, no electricity, no windows, whatever it may be. And they're telling us we can't pay more than 82% or less than 82% on fair market value. Who's creating the fair market value? Is it a real estate agent? Do we got to get an appraisal? What is it? Who is it? So there's a lot of unknowns here. Don't think this is going to pass, but the way I would like you to think about it is, hey, the intention is real, right? Maybe if this is a laundry list of stuff, maybe one or two happen, right? So it's aggressive, it's anti-investor, it's an impact wholesalers, flippers, buy and holds, anything distressed. So it really affects the entire industry, not just one category. Supporters say it curbs bad actors, likely faces pushback, may not advance. Okay, we went over that. These add transparency and protections, but could slow cash entity deals or distressed plays. Yeah, so there's more. If you do more than two wholesale transactions, you need a license. There's a laundry list of things that just feel like it's overreached. Don't know how they'll police it or put it all into play, but they're letting us know they want to change. So all we can do is do things right, be a strong community, work together, and make sure people are doing things the right way. If you're a coach, if you're a trainer, you do education, don't just go for the coaching money. Understand who you're coaching, who they are, help them do it right and understand. So what we did here at AZREIA, head over to our online community as a member, and we have instructions as to how to oppose the bill. It's very important that you reach out to this representative that proposed this and let them know that you're opposing it and why. So in our online community, you will see a pre-written statement for you. If you didn't want to write it out, you could tweak it, adjust it. We give you all his contact information. Then also the committee around the representative, we also have their contact information and a message you could send them. This is all educational. This is all up to you to submit, and if you feel like you want to do it. But I think we do have to get together as a community and let them know where we stand. So you can go to azreia.org. It's access for members. If you want that information, drop us a comment, a message, or something in this video. or give us a call. We'll help you get that information. So that was HB 2486 in short. Look out for that. We'll keep you updated here at AZREIA as to how it progresses. All right. So as we wrap up Arizona's path to progress in 2026, emerging corridors, data centers, residential assisted senior living, some FINCEN, some HB 2486. Here's what I'm thinking. Target emerging markets, North Phoenix, Northwest Phoenix, Vale areas in Tucson for acquisitions, position near data centers for rentals and industrial, explore senior housing for stable income and cash flow, and prep for March and for FINCEN. Keep in touch with your escrow agent. Keep in touch with us here at AZREIA. We will keep you updated as we get more information on FINCEN. And that, once again, jokingly say this at the meetings. When we grow up, never talk about politics, religion, or money, right? And I laugh and I say that's what we talk about every day. So all this work we're doing, stepping out of our comfort zone, quitting our jobs, planning for retirement, the sacrifice, the extra time, risking our hard-earned money to buy a rental property, to do a fix and flip. There's pressure on the business, right? We have to protect our business and what we work for. So when it comes to politics, you have to study, you have to get educated, right? Like, we're so focused on financial freedom and time freedom, which we will always do and we will continue to do, and we will pass that information down. But we also have to be conscious of what's going on behind the scenes, such as like rent control proposals, longer eviction proposals, right? These will all affect us. So when we do hit retirement in 5 years, 15 years, whatever it may be, there's going to be a lot of change if we don't pay attention to politics. We do this for legacy, to pass it down to our kids. It could be in jeopardy. So this year, keep in touch with us. I'm going to keep you updated. I'm going to let you know, when it comes to politics, it's more than just real estate. I totally get it. But if this is a big part of your life, housing, that's the most important part of everyone's life, right? If this is a part of your future, pay attention, all right? And I'm going to help you do that. So if you're new to listening to AZREIA Show, you're new to AZREIA, I want to get to know you a little bit better. So I put together 12 essential steps to becoming a real estate investor. So it's a 12-day email series. You get email from me every single day. I encourage you to reply on the topic that I discuss, and I'll personally respond to you and get to know you. So go to azreia.org/12 steps, and that's 12 steps, and you'll be able to sign up for that free email series. Otherwise, that's a wrap for today's AZREIA Show. Flying solo. I look forward to the next one. Have a good day.
Passive, really, I think this massive. Stable cash flow, lavish. All the finance for the masses. This 14% in manufactured housing. Really, all the deals I be doing is kinda hard to keep on counting. Not really. 10% for the year. It's clear this the new way. Little competition in my arena. Need a house cost arena strategy.
For 10 to 14% returns, invest today with Silvercrest Opportunity Fund.
10% passive, the checks I blind on with collateral.
Thanks for listening to the AZREIA Show with your hosts, Marcus Maloney and Mike Del Prete. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you found this information valuable, head over to azreia.org and learn more about our community.